Hello, my lovelies. Happy Wednesday. How are you, my friends? Thank you for joining me. Just got everything secure here. So, welcome to on my page 5 for Dixiebelle part 3. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining. Hi, Nina. Hi to Spain. This is what we're going to do today. A little seahorse. I'm going to talk a little bit about seahorses also. So this is my old kitchen buffet, which I own already for about almost 40 years. And I never had a chance. I painted everything, you know, but I didn't have a chance to play with that one. So we started that on the Dixiebelle page. We added a base with the Terra clay paints. Bonsoir, Michelle, ça va? This is where we're going tonight. And we use the patina paint in copper to add some details. I'm just going to show you. We done some frottage or reverse frottage. I'm basically calling it because that's what we're doing. And now we're going to work on this side. So what I've done, I've sealed the base as I use the Terra clay paints on there. And the nice thing about Terra clay paints is that you can reactivate them with water anytime and change your designs and work with it, whatever you want to do. So when you're happy with what you have, I recommend just sealing it quickly. That's what I've done. I've just made a quick reel if you want to check that out. It didn't take me, 5 minutes. So I'm not changing it accidentally. Oh, I'm gonna close that. So, and then I've sketched out, I have my inspiration pictures. So I need inspiration pictures. So, and I can't also reverse in my head from one side to the other. So I've printed them out 2 times. I printed them out in black and white because this keeps my personal color choices more open. And I really like those cute little buggers. So, okay, so, for those who don't know me, my name is Angela. I'm the owner and creative energy behind Elfen Helden. I'm a delight retailer for Dixiebelle paints over here in Frankfurt in Germany. So if you don't know me and you're not following me, I really appreciate if you pop over to my page and you do so. That'll be absolutely fantastic. If you want to shop the products we're using, you can go to the Dixiebelle page. If you're over here in Germany, I'll be very happy to help you out. So just make sure you're firstly supporting your local retailer. So as I said, seahorses, they come in 1,000 different shapes. I had more inspiration pictures. This one, actually, I took myself. This was my first seahorses I've seen myself. I love seahorses. They are in my logo. Also, those ones I saw myself also. This is one of my pictures, like 2. I worked on that. I took the background out, so that's why it looks a little bit funny, but I needed some inspiration pictures. And you can see some of them are really, very clean, very bony, and others like this ones, they are all fluffy and yeah, so I like those ones. Probably, I'm master of disaster and, my hair is a mess all the time also. So that's the one I was going for. Okay, enough chatting. I'm happy that you're there. Already put my paints out. Oh, there's you. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Thank you, Nina. So I already put my colors out. I have bougainvillea. I'm cannot pronounce it. I have elderberry. I have pistachio. I have malachite. This was a mixture I made for some project. I can't remember which one, which I had left over. I put that out. This is daffodil, blue moon, cerulean blue, Launis lagoon, and some moonbeam white. So those are the colors I've got out. We just need very, very little of that. And the painting itself will be more of a stippling technique. And for the for those weeds you're seeing here. We're going to do that with the mud spatula, which is this one. You can use a painting spatula also. I like the mud spatula. So I'm not using a metal spatula because, you know, you might be end up scratching your surface. So the mud spatula is plastic, so that's pretty smooth. Ah, dragonflies are beautiful also, Nina. I love them also. So they're ever so, those are, you know, such mystical animals, I feel. You know, they feel like they belong into some fairy tales or something like that. So I'm first going to mist my surface. Remember, I've sealed that, so nothing is going to happen there. I didn't seal the seahorse. What I've done there, I sketched that one out. I used my inspiration picture. I just sketched that out with a chalk stick. This is like SYS use, you know, pronounce it wrong. Michelle, I need my translator. This is basically, you know, because no, that's wet now. You can basically take that off. So easily with water or so that's what I've done. And then I've just put a base of elderberry just for a base we're going to work on in a minute. But we are going to start with the weeds first. Cheers, Coffee for now. Hi Sissi, schön, dass du da bist. Schau mal, da wollen wir heute hin. Einmal Nase. So coffee to the side, referred my spatula in there. Just water that also. I need some paper close to me. Sorry. I need some paper close to me. So now I'm going to start with malachite first. I'm going to dip that into the paint and then I'm just like pulling it down, just irregular in some areas. To produce some weeds. Obviously, this is going to be, you know, more like an abstract, not like a realistic painting. So that's quite fun to do. I'm holding my spatula in a pretty flat angle to the piece. I've watered that so that the paint releases a little easier onto the project and I don't have to scratch that much. And then I'm just like pulling it down a little bit in a wavy movement. If I would hold it like this, you know, obviously I would have like a wider area and I don't want to have wide areas. I want to have pretty thin, like seaweedy, making up my words again. Seaweeds. So now I've got it. Oh my goodness. So let's see how far we've gone over there. As I said, it's not supposed to look realistic. It's just like putting that a little further down. I'm, you know, switching my spatula just to release all the paint I have on there. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. I will see that I get to those straight away. If I'm missing them, I will come back later to check them out. You may also, if you wish to, you may also sprinkle. That also would make me very happy. So I'm trying to keep that moist. It starts running, that's no problem. Also, now I'm gonna come in with my pistachio, which is that bright green. Nina, when I write with my right hand. So, but painting, I do a lot of times with my left hand. And sometimes I don't know if I should paint with my left or with my right hand. So I'm confused. So, but this side is easy for me. It's easier to go on here with my left hand. So, and I'm just going to go over it and touching up also some of the areas I've done already with the malachite. And those colors just mix beautifully together and just like give like more dimension to the seaweedy, the seaweedy thingies I've already put on here. There is no rhyme or reason. I'm just placing it wherever I feel I want to have those things. Going mostly over the malachite, just you know, to give it more dimension, and it mixes as the paint is still wet, because I dampened or sprayed the surface with water. It was just like water in my bottle, and spritz it afterwards. Also a little. The paint is some thicker in some areas, which is quite nice. You can see when I drag it a little bit, it spreads out. Yeah, Nina, sometimes they don't. You know, sometimes I feel like you say, I have two left hands, and it just, you know, nothing works. But there's good days and there's bad days. I hope it's a good day today. I'm not messing up too much. You know, me, master of disaster. So this is just, as I said, adding some highlights in here. Go a little bit into the other direction also, so they don't all face in one direction. And you can see the mud spatula is pretty gentle to the surface, because obviously I don't want to, you know, scratch it. That's the reason, the main reason I'm not using a metal spatula to do something like that. So, and now, last but not least, I'm using the cerulean blue. It's a difficult word for a German person, guys. A very difficult word. Same thing, I'm using the same spatula, I'm not cleaning it out. Hola, Isabel. I'm not cleaning it out, and I'm just gonna do some in between. This is even adding a little more interest to the whole thing. So when you are underwater, you won't see any of the reds and the yellows and the oranges unless you have a torch underwater, because the water is, you know, it's blue, and it basically eliminates all red colors. So when you basically have no torch, everything looks like bluish, grayish, and those greens and things like that, they only come out when you have a torch. So unless you're in sweet water, and the sweet water carries a lot of algae, it's got like a green hint. So you will see the greens there, obviously, because it mainly shines green. But also the reds and things like that, you only will see when you have a torch. So, and a little bit about seahorses. I love seahorses. You know, I'm also a scuba diver trainer. So I'm diving since I'm 12 years old. I'm an old cow, and at the time, basically, kids weren't allowed to dive. There were hardly any women diving, and kids for sure were not allowed to dive. So I was very happy. My dad was scuba diving, and I was so happy when I was allowed to do the course. But becoming a scuba diver trainer, I decided pretty late, about, let me think, about 20 years ago. I just started that. And I always, there's like, I mean, I love all animals underwater, but there's like two main loves of mine. One are sharks, and the other ones are seahorses. The others are seahorses. So, and basically, I've seen a lot of sharks, but seahorses, they are pretty difficult to find. And the areas I was able, you know, because I was obviously had my normal day job, and coming in with my Bellerheit a little more. I had my normal day job, so the times I could go scuba diving at the time was mostly in winter. And I used to go, I love to go to the Maldives, and you don't really have that many seahorses there. They're very difficult to find there, and they're very rare. There's areas where you find more, and there's other areas you don't find as much. So I was basically chasing seahorses all the time. Ah, yeah, I can imagine that, yeah. But they're ever so pretty. So I was chasing them. So every of my diving students, of my colleagues and things like that, wherever they went and came back, they always brought me a little souvenir. I mean, not real seahorses, like, you know, like whatever, pencils, like key rings, you know, with wooden seahorses on it, you know, from every country they went to. So that was ever so sweet. And my first seahorses I've seen when I went with my dad to Galapagos. So I was ever so excited. That's where I made my pictures. So that was about, let me think, 2004 we went there. So the seahorse was always in my mind. I was always called a little seahorse in scuba diving. This is my nickname, also in my motorbiking society. And so silly, but that's the way it is. So, and also seahorses, they are in my logo. When I started my business with I'm telling stories tonight. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I'm telling stories. So in this area, I'm just stippling some things in. What is that? As I said, this is like an abstract piece anyway, so there's nothing about really real things. Excuse me. So when I started my business or my creative business, let's say so, I'm in retail business, self-employed for about over 30 years now. But my creative business, I started about 10 years ago with making rhinestone shirts and custom shirts. And I was looking at the time, and now I know I had the right feeling. I was looking at the time for just a name and a logo, which doesn't really... Thank you, Nina. What was I saying? Just uploading the rest of the paint on here, and I think that'll be good to carry on. I don't want to do all just that thing. So clean it up a little. Even if it's a Terra clay paints, I can, you know, even when it's dried in, I can wash that off easily later on. Let's get to our seahorse now. Yeah, I was looking basically for a brand name which, you know, which is more up to the open, you know, because I was also making shirts, not only rhinestone shirts, I was making normal shirts for our motorbiking community, and so I didn't want to have just like whatever sparkling seahorse or something like that. That didn't really appeal to me. I was basically looking for a name which is like up to the open. And my brand name is Elfen Helden, which means in English, elves and heroes. And in my logo is also the seahorse. You can see I've got the logo up in the video. It's yeah, well, it's a seahorse shape I have in there. And the reason I've chosen that name is because seahorses, you know, they're ever so beautiful. So they're like, you know, they're like little fairies, like elves, you know, hovering around somewhere. So that's the elves, and the heroes is that because seahorses, they look after the babies. They look after the babies. So they have them in a pocket, like kangaroos. They have like a pocket, and that's where they basically keep the babies. So that's elves and heroes. So now you know the story about my brand name. I scared some people off already. So that's one amazing thing about seahorses. Now I'm going to water that. I didn't seal. This is elderberry. I just put as a base. I didn't seal it because we're going to paint over that, and you know there's really nothing I can destroy apart from the shape. And now I'm using my French tip brush. Well, heavily used French tip brush I'm having. So I'm going to water or to dampen that also. And I'm first going to come in with Daffodil from the middle, which is a bright yellow. And we're going to work mostly in a stipple technique. I'm just going to bring that into the center of everything. So as it goes further down, I will use my premium tip brush. Now I've got it. Brain. So first doing the areas I can do with my French tip brush. I'm using the same brush now. I'm going to come in with Bougainvillea. I'm learning to pronounce that. I actually have, Nina. I have a big one on my shoulder. So I have a very big one on my shoulder. It used to be a unicorn. And one of my diving students said, well, I mean, there really should be a seahorse, not a unicorn. So I went to the tattoo studio and they basically made or added, they added a seahorse over it. It turned out pretty big because they had to cover up the, unicorn I had. So I'm stippling away. So I'm mixing basically the daffodil with the Bougainvillea because I want it to turn out a little more orangey. And it gives it like, or it turns out to be like a pretty vibrant orange, those two colors together. That's what I like to have. And I'm also gonna come in a minute with a little bit of the elderberry coming out from the outside to give it a little more dimension. What's the time? Half an hour. We still have time. We still have time. Good. We're good to go. We are good to go. So let's see. Where do I want to have some? Here. So obviously this goes over the drawers and over the different doors. That was my intention, to do it that way, to break it up. So I'm going to use a little more, just a tiny little bit of the daffodil coming in from the middle here. Blend those together. As I said, I'm using the stippling technique. Terra clay paints I'm using, they blend easy anyway. And there's loads of different ways of blending colors, guys. If somebody tries to tell you there's only one way to blend colors, run. Just run. It's not. There's loads of ways to blend colors. And everybody, you know, has his own technique they're using. So for this, I'm using the stippling technique. Go a little bit. Well, I'm going to open up the doors in a minute and do that to fix those areas. Let's go. So this is just the base for my seahorse at the moment. And I'm going to come in with my, actually, I'm going to do that now. I'm going to come in with my, premium chip brush. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Thank you for saying it's so beautiful. Thank you for sprinkling. And you're still learning to blend. Keep learning. Keep learning. So stippling technique is very, very easy. So now I'm going to come in with my elderberry from the outside. I have my premium chip brush. So Terra clay paints. As I said, they're water-based, they are clay-based, and they blend very, very easy. They blend very, very easy. They are low VOC. They're not VOC free, but this is basically due to the highly quality pigments they are using. So that also relies, or basically makes up how if there's VOCs or not in your paint. So I'm gonna come around on the outside, blending it a little, shading out into the other two colors. If I go over the side, I'm not worried. You know, as I said, this is more like an abstract and not like a realistic seahorse. I just like to add some dimension to it. Light is not very good here, so a bit struggling seeing it. But I think I'm pretty good to go here. So come in with my French tip, and I'm just moving it into the elderberry on the outside also. As I said, I keep stippling away. And I don't want to have a perfect blend also, because this is going to give some dimension onto the body of the seahorse. If there is like some irregular areas. That's basically the whole idea behind the whole thing. If you wanna, if you feel the paint is like drying away, just give it a slight mist and just carry on. So I'm stippling from the inside to the outside, because I don't want to have it like too dark on the outside. And we're going to come in a second even more with some, oh, careful, I'm putting the paint on my, so I think I'm pretty happy with the state up there, glooming a little bit, and those areas in the face and down here I'm going to do with my pre-miniature brush. Hi Karen. That's good. That's so sweet, Nina. That's so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I try to do loads of different things, you know. Obviously I can't always do hand painting. That's come in with my daffodil. Those are the thinner areas which were basically too thin for using my French tip, obviously. And doing the same thing now. This is still the base, and then we're doing some more dimension things. Now a little bit of bouquet. Obviously those areas scream more for an artist brush, which I'm going to get in a minute. But for now, we're good to go like this. And as I said, you can reactivate those. Oh, I like that. I like that. You can reactivate the Terra clay paints anytime with water until they are sealed, unless they are not sealed. Now I've got it. Don't talk rubbish. Thank you, Shai. Hi, Tanya. Thank you for joining. How are you guys? Long time not seen. So, get a little bit down on its tail. They've got the curvy tail. So, did you know that seahorses, even they look ever so lovely and beautiful and innocent, they are the perfect predator. Even they're so tiny. Did you know that? And the reason why, you want to know? Shall I tell you? I'm going to tell you anyway. Even if you don't know, I'm going to tell you anyway. I'm going to tell you anyway. Seahorses. If you've seen them, they basically they hardly move. You know, they float. You know, that's you know that's why they look like little fairies, elves moving along. They float. You know, they hardly move. They float. And don't panic. That's paint. That's bougainvillea, I've got my hand. They float, and that's the reason they produce hardly any water movement. So they can sneak up right onto their prey and, you know, just catch it, because they won't realize that something is around. So they eat little, you know, crabs and things like that. So the seahorse, the predator. Now you know. So get some bougainvillea. Just offloading it on my hand. It's water-based. I can clean my hands afterwards. And I keep stippling away. All the colors I'm using, I keep stippling away. Just want to add a little bit of interest and blend those together just with stippling. So I think I'm quite happy with what I have now. So now we're going to add a little more. I'm going to come in a little more in there with my, oh, just a little down there, just to make that a little more cohesive. Do you say that? So that's enough. And now, now I'm going to clean it off a little. I'm working with a pretty much dry brush. So with the Terra clay paints, you can the brush strokes, they don't level themselves out. If you want to have like a smooth finish, the chalk and roll paints and the silk paints are, you know, your paint to go. But if you want to build up texture and things like that, the Terra clay paints are perfect, you know, because when you stipple and things like that, or you add more paint in areas like I've done with the weedy things here, it dries and the texture is going to stay, which, you know, gives it a lovely effect. So that's the reason when you do that, your brushes to go are natural bristle brushes. Difficult word for a German person, natural bristle brushes. So just going to clean it a little bit. Not scaring you too much. So and now I'm still using the same brush because I don't mind if the paint, you know, is like mixing up. So I'm offloading it. I'm coming in now with my daffodil, and I'm just adding it in some areas. That's too muddy. It's too muddy. I want to have it bright. So I'm just cleaning it off on a little bit of paper. My hand is dirty also. I have to put it on there. Guys, if you have questions, just let me know. So, okay, let me think. Let me think how we've done that. So, I'm just stippling on, and you see how the brushes are standing apart. That's exactly what I want to have, because it gives me now like this little dotty effect I'm adding on here in certain areas. So that's basically the way I want to go now. That's what I'm adding on here. And again, this is not supposed to be a realistic seahorse. You know, I just had some inspiration pictures, and I'm gonna go from there. So I'm just going to add some of those dots on here just to give it a little more. Hi Jody, hi to Texas. How is the weather there? How's the weather there? I absolutely love painting with the Terra clay paints. I mean, they're so easy to paint with. Excuse me. I'm going to start from the bottom now a little bit. I'm just releasing the daffodil on here, stippling it on there. And my brush is pretty dry now, and the bristles are standing apart. This is what's giving me this dotty effect, and I'm enhancing it by pushing it into my hand. Hi, Julie. Hi to Australia. You have seahorses in Australia, I know that. And you have sea dragons also, which belong to the family of seahorses. So, just dragging it out a little bit. I want to have more stripes on the back here. So we're going to have a little bit of those exploded hair things. That's the reason I've chosen that seahorse. It's hot and humid. Oh my goodness. So I cannot, if Michelle would be here, she could help me with the temperatures. I never know what they are like to translate into so I'm adding a little more in some areas where I feel I want to have it going a little bit outside of the areas also, because there's going to be those scruffy bits. Remember, for an inspiration, I have this little bugger. So 42 minutes already. I'm speeding up to show you a little more what we can do here. I'm talking far too much. I want to have a little more those dots here, a little more yellow. Fading out a little bit on the bottom there. So this is more in the background, so that doesn't need to be, just giving a little dimension on the bottom there. Oh my goodness. Well, that's hot. That's hot. We have around 30 here today, which is already pretty hot. So I've got to see a little more what I'm doing here. So now I'm going to come in doing the same thing with the elderberry, which is the darker color, just to add a little more around his head. Give it more dimension here. It's a bit more shaped. They got pretty bony heads. So that's basically, let me see. I need a little more elderberry. So and it comes out in blotchy parts. That's perfectly fine now, because this is basically, you know, the bodies of seahorses. They are structured and they hide really, really well. So they're very difficult to find because they perfectly blend in with the environment they are at. And as I said, when underwater, they come in different colors also. Seahorses come, they are yellow. Thank you, Jody. They are yellow, they are orange, they are red, they are white, they are black. They come in loads of different colors. And as I said before, the reds and the yellows and the oranges, you're not seeing underwater because it's basically absorbed by the blue in the from the water. And you can only see the colors when you have a torch. And obviously then they do stand out, but even so, there's some of them, they are tiny as a couple of millimeters, and there's others, they turn up to whatever, 30 centimeters. Color and mixed. Yeah. Peace. I'm just doing that for drying that up. So get a little bit more of yellow dots up here. Just a little to give that a bit more dimension in some areas. What does that look like, guys? What does that look like? Does that look like? Gotta move a little back. I think I quite like that. So I want to work a little bit. Give me 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, guys. 5 more minutes. We're just going to do. Already done some of those really hairy, you know, like I have all the things which stand away. So I'm just grabbing artist brush already laid into the paint. I'm watering, I've got loads of water on here, and I'm just using the elderberry now for those really things. Got like 2 horns up here. Already done those once. I just want to do those just a little more. Those crazy things which stand out on the head, just like irregular. No rhyme or reason, obviously. Those things with those seahorses, they're basically pretending this is like reedy things. So I'm obviously pretending I'm a reed. My hair's a mess, guys. My hair's a complete mess. So just want to get those a little stronger because I watered that really down. And then we're going to do just quickly some of those things in there. A little more water. A little more water. Sorry I'm taking up your time so long. If you have to go, guys. Dixiebelle's not there anyway, I think. So that's all around. This area is going to be more like, they do have like a back fin, you know, can hardly see. This is basically also like moving into the background. So some of those things down there, they have those weedy things more on the outside, and they have less, you know, on the tail. When it comes to the tail, there's not that many of those things on there. I'm just going to leave it like this. I think that's fine. It's fine. Excuse me. What does my hand look like? It looks like a seahorse. Hi, Jody. Exactly, Jody. That's it. Well, it depends, you know, in which waters you're diving. So over here, when you go to the Mediterranean, I don't know what 35 feet is. Don't know what 35 feet is. So the Mediterranean, they are pretty dark from the water. And some, it appears earlier that the colors disappear, and some, you know, it takes, you can go deeper till they disappear. But that's correct. So, I want to have a little more of the yellow dots down here. I'm just taking an artist brush now. I'm doing the same thing, you know, I'm stippling it so the bristles break, you know, are more open to get a little more, find a spot on my hand which is not as much contaminated. So and those paints are perfectly for layering also. So every area you feel you want to add some more, you just go over it again. That's what I'm doing. I want to have more dimension down there. And now, oops. No. That's all I have at the moment. I'm sorry. It's water-based, so I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. So I want to do the things around, you know, this is there's my inspiration picture. Those fluffy things, you know, those fluffy things around this head. So I'm going to use my, for this I'm going to use my French tip again, which is like nicely open. Thank you, Tanya. So when I got to the hour, I'll be finished. I'm just going to show you quickly that. So just very going over those really heavy things and stippling ever so gentle. This is just like releasing a little bit from the brush onto those weedy areas. The nice thing is when you have it on your hand, you know, when I wipe it on the cloth or something like that, the paint is mostly gone. On my hand, I can still, you know, get something off until it's dried in. That's another reason I like to rub my hands with it. So, and again, here you can do that as far as you want to. And now here I'm going to use actually also the that light green mixture. You see that light green mixture? I think I've used malachite and daffodil for that. I'm not sure if I mixed any other color in there. I had that in another project. Just want to have that just a tiny, because there is some lighter, oops, that was a bit heavy, doesn't matter, lighter areas. So the paint down there is not dry, as you can see. It's pretty heavy. So I'm going to leave that area because I'm just going to mess that up. Otherwise, I don't want to do that. So, and also I want to have a little bit, firstly, just a tiny highlight. Just ever so tiny. Is it too dark? Doesn't matter. And I'm going to come in also around those thingies too. Basically simulate that scruffy look. So guys, I'm gonna let you go now. I think we got pretty far tonight. I hope you like that. This is basically what I've done before. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for being with me. For those who don't know me, my name is Angela. I'm the owner and creative energy from Elfen Helden. I'm an elite retailer for Dixiebelle paints over here in Frankfurt in Germany. So I'm very happy that you joined me tonight. Feel free to follow my page. Make sure to follow also the other retailers, all very talented, which are on the Dixiebelle page at the moment. So make sure to do that also and support them. If you haven't done it, follow me. What did I say? If you want to shop the products, pop over to the Dixiebelle page. I left the link in the description, so you can pop over there and get those paints. And I'm thanking you so much for being with me tonight. Have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, wherever you're watching from. And I'm going to see you next week. Ta-da, bye-bye. And for my European friends, or if you want to join me, I'll be live tomorrow evening also. Take care. Ta-da, bye-bye.